Hi, it's Peter Nixon in my studio here in Hong Kong, but I have on my virtual background behind me the beautiful Petronas Towers because this message is being recorded for the alumni and friends and frontline workers in Malaysia from the Razak School of Government and all the great things that we've done together there. I'm thinking of all of you. Joe has kindly asked me to think about 3 questions and to record my answers in writing. And I've thought, well, why not also record them on video and give you a chance to see a little bit of my thinking in this regard. I'm wearing my McGill University t-shirt because my family has been attached to McGill Medicine for many generations. And in this pandemic, I'm especially thinking about all of the frontline workers in Malaysia and Canada, in Hong Kong, everywhere around the world, who are putting their lives at risk in order to save the lives of all of our brethren. So the questions that Joe has put to me relate to leadership. First, he's asked me about the effects of this coronavirus on my daily life. Second, he's asked me perhaps to identify what I would now consider the top 3 leadership lessons. And third, any messages that I may have for you, actual alumni that we've worked with together, or frontline workers in COVID-19. So how has it affected me? Well, I'm a trainer, I'm a speaker, I'm a group facilitator. And when this happened, all of my work came to a crashing halt. So I have no work, my gym is closed, and after 30 years of traveling every month somewhere in the world, I haven't traveled now for a few months. So it's probably, in that regard, one of the biggest changes in my life. Fortunately, my family are all well. My friends are all well. I watch the news daily, like all of you, and pray that we will not be touched directly by this. But even if we're not touched directly by this, we want to reach out and pray for all of those who are touched by this terrible disease. The second way it's affected my daily life is I've had to figure out how to move all of my services online. And I'm doing that as we speak. This is an example. Speaking online, speaking to groups online, doing training online, that will be coming up. The Potential Dialogue Institute online will be happening, and I'll be sharing that with the Razak School of Government. The third way that it's affected my daily life is that I've been busy helping stressed out clients and family members through this crisis. And I've been able to keep my head while all about who are losing theirs and blaming it on you. When I was young, some of you would remember the story some 40 years ago. My father sent me a note and I put it up on the wall in my dormitory at college. And it said, learn to control your emotions to enhance your situation rather than hinder it. Learn to control your emotions to enhance your situation rather than hinder it. And, you know, as a young 17-year-old male at the time, that seemed to make a lot of sense. And I had absolutely no idea how to do that. And for the next 40 years, I tried to figure out how to do that. And now we're faced with the worst pandemic in human history. And managing your emotions to enhance your situation rather than hinder it are suddenly some of the most important skills that you could ever pick up as a leader. So I'm fortunate that my father asked me to figure out how to do that because it took me 40 years. I'm a slow learner, but I have figured out a few things, and I'll share. In terms of the top 3 leadership lessons that we've learned from this pandemic, I think one is we're a global village, and when somebody is sick somewhere, everyone is sick everywhere. And if it wasn't obvious before, it's dreadfully obvious now. So we really have to look after each other everywhere in the world. Doesn't matter if you're Malaysian or Canadian or Chinese We're all in this together, and we all have to look after each other. So the historical competitiveness between nations, hopefully in the post-pandemic world, will be something of the past. We also know that one of the great leadership lessons in this pandemic is that real leaders stand tall, and false leaders tend to fall over in the storm. And you only have to look around and you see the real leaders that are standing up and sustaining their positions in the height of the storm. And this is a long storm. And these are leaders that have their eyes set on the horizon. They're constantly showing compassion for the tragic realities around them. But through their own skills to manage their emotions, to enhance their situation rather than hinder it, they're able to deal with the ambiguity of the change, the constant change, and they're able to work with other people even if they disagree with them in order to help get the followers that are with them, beside them, behind them, and some even in front of them in order to get them to a safer place. A third leadership lesson from this pandemic is that everybody wears down. We all wear down. It's wearing us down physically, it's wearing us down mentally, and it's wearing us down spiritually. And great leaders have a way of daily replenishing their strength, their spiritual, mental, and physical strength. So what does it you do? I can tell you what I do. I go for walks, I listen to music, I read books, I take time out. I do hiking in my small studio. Even at the office, I have a yoga mat. I have to stretch. I should do more abs, but the aerobic part is working quite well. So physically, spiritually, and mentally, you have to. I probably have learned more in the last 2 months than I have in years, just trying to figure out how all the software works, how all the reaching out to clients online around the world will work out. And so you have to do that, and good leaders do that. So you need to do that as well. The third area are any specific messages for you as alumni and for the frontline workers in Malaysia. I have a niece on the front lines. She's a nurse at the one of the hospitals in Montreal, which is the epicenter in Canada. And she sent pictures, with the straps on her face and the marks from her hazmat full protective gear. So it hits home. Her and also a neighbor who's working in one of the COVID centers in London, England. Same thing, fully covered. Heroes, right? Wonderful, wonderful heroes. So what do we need to do? We need to manage our stress so as not to stress the people around us. We need to recognize that everybody's going to hit the wall. If they haven't already, they're going to break down mentally, physically, and spiritually at different times, and it's normal. And none of us are immune. So as a first step, we always should have compassion for others. And you only have to watch the news to see which leaders have compassion for others and which you don't. If you find people are blaming others for the problems around them, it's not taking a first step in compassion. So try your best, manage your emotions so that the first step you can give to others is a compassionate one. If you find it difficult to manage your emotions, take a break, take a time out, go for a walk, have a sleep, have a proper meal, get rested, exercise, and then come back to work, because the working world needs you at your best, especially in this crisis. A second thing that we need to do is to look after what I'm calling the lost generation, the COVID generation. Young people who are graduating now or have graduated in the last year and are hitting the job market now are going to face and are facing some of the most difficult situations of any cohort to hit the labor force ever. And it may, in fact, not be any better for the next couple of years. So 3 years from now, there'll be 2 more years of graduates behind them, even more eager and more fresh to learn and take up jobs. So we need to engage these people now. We need to create jobs for them. We need to create special work programs, COVID-19 projects that are going to put them to work and rebuild our societies for the post-pandemic world that we all want. Which is really my third point. We need to plan now for the post-pandemic world that will be coming to fruition, hopefully in the next 2 years. After they found a vaccine and start all the antibody testing, we're going to slowly get back to work. The economy is slowly going to raise again. And then we're going to have to figure out how to live together better. It's almost like Mother Nature sent us to our rooms for misbehavior. So we need to take this time to think, you know, how do we want to live? How do we want to treat each other? How do we want to treat neighbors, other nations, ASEAN? It's so important because bombing each other and spending our national GDP on hypersonic missiles is not the way forward, not going to work. I have a vision of young people 30 years from now asking me, Peter, what was it like before the pandemic? You know, we will have lived our lives, and when we're old, they're only going to remember this period. It's like asking people about the First or Second World War. They only want to know about the war. They don't recognize that you had a whole life before and after the war. And it'll be the same with us with the pandemic. So what was life like before, and how did it change after? And the way I'm coining that now is that before the pandemic, the whole world was really focused on me. You know, how can I accumulate things? How can I get the best salary? How can I build my career? How can I do it for me, me, me? And that was true at a personal level, a family level, a community level, a national level. You know, make America great again is all about me, 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 me. It's my country, not your country. And I think what the pandemic crisis has done or will do for all of us is to make us change from this attitude of me to the attitude of we. What can we do to help each other? How can we make the world better for everyone? How can we protect the environment? How can we make things sustainable? How can we realize everyone's potential while realizing our own? These are the things that inspire me. This is what gets me up to work and my routine on a daily basis. And I hope it's of value to you. So in summary, this pandemic has had a big effect on me. I'm sitting alone in my studio recording messages for all of you out there who I miss dearly. And I hope we can get together again soon enough. The big lessons, we're all in this together. We're a global village. If someone's sick somewhere, everyone's sick everywhere. We need you as real leaders to stand tall, look at the horizon, and keep an eye on your values and where we're headed. Because most people don't have your education or your stature, and they look to you for leadership. And as everybody wears down physically, mentally, and spiritually, be compassionate. They need your helping hand. They need to see that even as a leader, you're human and you can help them. Manage your stress because we're all going to have these ups and downs, and they need you and we need you at your best. So disappear for a while. Doctors do it. We all do it. Just disappear and then come back. And when you come back, you'll be better and we'll work with you. Look after the lost generation, this COVID generation, this year, next year, the year after. Young people who are graduating into the marketplace with very little hope. We need to create programs for them. And get planning for the post-pandemic world. The world where we stop thinking about me and start thinking about we. Stay safe, stay home, and look after each other. And send me your questions. I look forward to the dialogue. Take care. Bye.